Assassin's Promise by Thomas Woodward. Chapter 15. My hand felt numb. I covered my arm, not wanting to attract attention to myself. The heat from the blade had burned like molten lava. The pain remained, and did not seem to fade as the moments passed. Like a blazing signature, I could see the form of the red serpent in my mind's eye. The racking chills had subsided for the moment, and I moved away from the market, the heavy pouch of materials stuffed into my pockets. Now that I had run out of coin, I had no way to pay for the food provisions Stan had tasked me to collect for him. The words rang like cold steel. If any of the goods should be missing or light, I will know of it. The numbness had moved from my hand to my right arm. Somehow, the pain did not lessen. Trying to focus my weary mind, I realized I would need to get the other items in the list Stan had given me. It would mean stealing them. In the desert, the unbroken law ruled. It dictated that any man caught stealing would lose his right hand. Sometimes the law was relaxed for children, but I knew full well that I could just as easily be judged as a full adult man if the local magistrate felt the desire. Orphan children without their right hand almost always died within the year. If they could not be useful to join a work gang, they would be reduced to begging. Other beggars were not so kind. They would do anything to keep themselves from starvation. Beggars died every day in the harsh outer cities. I would need some kind of connection to hope for protection from that fate, should I be caught. Stanton would not miss me, should I be taken in by the authorities. He would be just as happy leaving me to my fate, I knew. But still, I had to deliver the goods. Part of me feared coming back even a little short. I remember the importance of staying useful. It would mean staying alive. My mind made up, I moved back into the thick of the crowd, flowing forward on the main thoroughfare. I let it pull me gently forward, keeping my eyes peeled for the local butcher's shop. No city would let a butcher open his storefront without the backing of his guild. The emblem was a blood-red butcher's cleaver, which was always prominently displayed above the sign to every butcher's shop. Each master butcher would wear an accompanying blood-red pin that took the same symbol, and it would be fastened to their butcher's apron. This gave their customers reassurance that they could be trusted in their craft. Even small towns would not allow ungilded butchers to ply their trade. The few who tried would be run out of town by the mayor, backed by the town militia with a warrant for arrest and imprisonment. Up ahead I saw a swinging wooden sign, a blood-red butcher's cleaver clearly emblazoned upon it. Stepping forward with a wish to be done with the task, I felt a sour taste in my mouth. Keeping my eyes level with the crowd, I kept moving toward the building. The shop had a brisk business. Several customers were gathered, waiting for their turn to speak with a master butcher to place their orders. I moved silently behind them, looking at the sliced meats hanging from the hooks all about the shop. A massive butcher's cleaver lay on the wooden table, a pool of congealed blood beneath it. Thick beef was cut into slabs. Pork had been cured and was tied in sacks that were peppered and stuffed with herbs. The smell was enticing. It made me remember how long it had been since I had last eaten. The butcher himself was a man with long, straight, dark hair that was tied into a thick braid and hung down his back. He seemed about 40 summers and had sun-darkened skin. He chewed something between his teeth as he spoke to his customers, pausing occasionally to spit mid-sentence. His bloody apron was of a fine cut, and glittered with the symbol of station near the top, over his left breast. His knuckles were hard and spoke of a rougher youth. Perhaps the man had started as a street tough, or had been a merchant's guard. He had a discerning eye, and took in his customers' needs within the space of a single breath. "Young lad, what will you have there? Pork chops or mutton? What is your fancy this day?" I scrambled to think of a response. "My master would like 3 blood sausages of your most reasonable cut. We have come on hard times, and cannot afford more than that." Blinking in surprise, the tall man regarded me for a moment. "Show me what you have, young master, and we'll be done with it." The butcher placed his palm face up on the table between us, waiting patiently. I have no money, but I can work, sir. I promise I can. Let me wash and clean for you today to pay through the cost of the sausages." "I have no need for extra help around the shop. I already have a helper." The butcher pointed to a young woman. Her hair flowed down past her shoulders. She might have been about my age. I stifled a blush, not wanting to stare. She was busily cleaning behind the counter and turned to smile and look over briefly, catching my eye for a moment before returning to work. The butcher continued, "Maybe we can come to an arrangement. Let me think on it, young lad." Pointing to an out-of-the-way part of the store, he said, "Wait over there. Let me finish with the other customers." By this time, a growing line had formed. A few none-too-polite coughs and remarks could be heard just under the breath of some of the patrons standing behind me. Moving quickly out of the way, I stood over where the butcher had pointed. I just didn't have it in me to steal. My mind returned to the pain in my right arm. Bracing myself, I leaned against the wall, trying not to move. I worried the wound would become infected, and I would break out in fever. The pain felt no different than when the cryptic merchant had leveled the obsidian blade and etched the serpent image into my skin. I dared not show it to anyone.